YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. The new DLC is nearly upon us, and I'm able to release some more content for you. Today we're going to talk about Malus Darkblade, and courtesy of the Warhammer Fantasy Wiki, I'll be reading you a little background on him in a moment with some awesome footage, and because of Indie Pride, I got to play an awesome multiplayer battle with Malus Darkblade that you'll get to see as well. Very excited to bring him to you. He is a lord that is going to provide some unique features. He's armor piercing in terms of his damage. He's got solid armor mobility when he is mounted on his Cold One Spite. And he also has a special ability in which he can transform into the demon Tizarchon, which you'll hear more about in a moment. Anyway, very excited to show it to you. He also brings new units, Scourge Runner chariots, and also these Medusas, these sirens that you'll see here. Malus Darkblade, known as the Tyrant of Hag-Gref, is the current Drakau, or ruler of the Dark Elf city of Hag-Gref, and a powerful warlord and favored servant of the Witch King Malekith. Malus Darkblade was always ambitious, even by the lofty standards of Hag-Gref's warring families. For long years he played the Dark Elves' deadly game of politics and assassination, and played it well. But finally his thirst for power led Darkblade into the clutches of a being darker even than he. Rumors of a great power, hidden in the distant north, set Darkblade on a quest that led him deep into the Chaos Waste. It is a testament to Darkblade's determination that he not only survived his journey, but at last came before the Temple of Kol Hadar, in which this prize could be found. Alas for Darkblade, the great power within the temple was something not easily bent to mortal will. Long centuries ago, the greater demon of Snikch, Tizarchon, had been bound within Kol Hadar, and Darkblade now unwittingly presented it with an opportunity for escape. Blinded by avarice, Darkblade was possessed by the demon. In that instant, his life and soul were forfeit. He had but one way of escaping his fate: to find 5 artifacts of power that would fully free Tizarchon from his ancient prison, and thus see Darkblade's soul restored. He had only a year to succeed, or else remain in the demon's thrall for eternity. Though the search took every waking hour of the allotted year, and even forced Darkblade to kill his own father to obtain the artifacts, Darkblade finally succeeded in this quest. Upon the eve of his doom, he returned to Kol Hadar with the artifacts and performed the ritual that would set the demon free. But Tizarchon had tricked the Dark Elf. Upon escaping from Darkblade's body, the treacherous demon stole his black soul. From that moment on, the fates of the Darkblade and Tizarchon were forever intertwined. In the years since, Darkblade has become legendary in Naggaroth as a great warrior and leader whose hatred can overcome any opposition. Wielding the warped sword of Cain, the only surviving artifact from that long-ago quest, Darkblade has hacked a path of bloody ruin across the frozen north, drawing upon Tizarchon's power when needed, but relying first and foremost on his own dark determination and limitless reservoir of hate. Alright folks, here we are in the battle. This is going to be just a fun one between Indie Pride and myself, playing on the early build here. We get to show off Malus. Indie Pride is going to represent Malus in this battle, and I am playing as High Queen Khalida and her Tomb Kings. You can see a huge bunch of Skelly boys in the background, so just let you introduce my army quickly. I've got 2 Nehekara horsemen, a front line of skeletons, and then in a secondary line I've got 3 archers, one of which is the Regiment of Renown. I've got Khalida supporting an Ushabti with Great Bow, and then a Lich Priest Lore of Light with nets, and then I've got 2 units of Tomb Guards with halberds. And you can see Indie Pride assaulting me early with his blood-racked Medusas, one of which is the Regiment of Renown, the Red Siren, if I remember the name right. You can see them retreating because I'm pushing forward. He's got a nice army here. He's got some relatively light infantry for the most part, and then he's got some shades in the back. with, of course, none other than Malus, as mentioned, representing he's going to lead the way here against a Tomb Scorpion and push it back, as it was a little bit ahead of its army. But he's got a couple of Shades, a couple of Reaper Bolt Throwers, and then he's also got some cavalry to guard them, along with a Death Sorceress in the back. So you can see me pushing in. I want to push the advantage of my numbers here as hard as I can. I'm going to take some Nehekara Horsemen early here and go plowing into these Bolt Throwers. I need them off the field so they'll cease causing damage. They've already essentially negated my Ushabti with Great Bow, which was painful to take early on, but that's what happens. Bolt Throwers are quite effective at what they do, so I've been able to engage his lines and push on through and start to threaten. So now it's time to get my archers and key units into position to deal some major damage. The Scorpions are going to need to get in here as well. You can see a Bloodrack Medusa crashing through the lines here. I'm going to come meet it and then get in here and put a net on it and focus fire with the archers. This was the key to my build, and then of course the key to his build is just all the terror. Well, terror won't play out in this one, but all the damage that these Bloodrack Medusas can put out. And then you've got to deal with Malus himself, and it's kind of funny. It's like I say, that Malus is his name, but he's full of malice as well. And he is quite a tough character to be dealt with, and I will have to get to that. He's over here inflicting damage away from Khalida at the moment, but my archers are dealing what they do best with Khalida nearby to support, or she had been nearby. And then the net, we're able to pull down that Bloodrack Medusa to near nothing. And then right now I'm just letting my superior numbers of infantry win me the fight while using this other Tomb Scorpion to hunt down the Siren of Red Ruin. I want to try and cause as much damage as I can there. So now I'm going to continue trying to push forward with my skeleton army. I have reached level 3 of the Realm of Souls, and I'm going to summon up some Ushabti on top of the Shades of Haggref and throw a little shade on their party, if you will. At this point, Malus is attempting to stop my archers. He comes back and finds himself surrounded by quite a few enemies, though he does have some infantry support. He's going to be attempting to flee. I'm going to net him in place and give him the same treatment that we gave that Red Siren earlier, by letting my archers unleash volley after volley while being supported by Khalida. And we're going to really start to lay down the damage on Malus Darkblade. He has high armor though, the Bloodrack Medusa does not, and so he's able to resist some of the damage, at least last a little longer than the Bloodrack Medusa did. You can see in the background a little bit of trouble mopping up some of the infantry fights because I just have skeletons, but these Ushabti have done yeoman's work back here, just absolutely cutting down a large number of Shades, which is going to be critical if I wish to win here. You can see the Bloodrack Medusa and the Sorceress and the Shades all trying to lay into my Scorpion, which has really done a tremendous job for the most part. As I push in these skeletons, it's going to force the Shades back out of that fight and allow my Scorpion to last just a little longer, though he's not really likely to survive there. So I would say that although the battle shows slightly in my favor, Malus is not done yet. As mentioned in the intro, he's tied with Zarkon, intertwined with him. And as his health gets low, you can be assured that he's going to make use of that innate ability to call on Zarkon, which will replenish his health, especially since almost every ability he has digs away at that health. So Malus, although getting quite low, is definitely not out of this fight, and nor are my Tomb Kings. They're fighting on quite valiantly. The attacks against my archers continue. They're a little bit blobbed right now because they're kind of constantly fleeing enemies. Nice pressure being brought by the forces of Haggref, and you can see the Tyrant himself here come back to get engaged again. Going to use some of his special abilities, which is going to drop leadership. May not rout units, but it can certainly lead to their crumbling sooner than expected. My Scorpion was able to drive back his reinforcements, or at least some of them. And you can see that Malus Darkblade now in rough shape, down to only 650 hit points, and he is being contested by High Queen Khalida. But he has made the transformation into Zarkon. You can hear it now as well, you can see it, But Zarkon immediately netted, and he will receive some similar punishment. Unfortunately for me, though, some of my archers have been caught and busied. Only a few will be able to fire. I have these 2 units here, and I'm going to bring in Khalida as well, but the stats on Malus are monstrous when he is transformed into Zarkon. I shouldn't say Malus, because he's not really Malus anymore. He is Zarkon released, the greater demon of Snikch. So he's chasing Khalida, and there's a reason why Khalida's running. She wants nothing to do with his attention right now. His hit points will slowly fade over time. Khalida needs to continue to juke and allow her archers to do the damage that they are capable of doing here, though some of my archers continue to be attacked by small numbers of infantry, and it's just enough to pull their attention away and ensure that Zarkon lives a little while longer. That wasn't even infantry, that was a regrouped bolt thrower, so it's become a desperate fight between both sides. The Red Siren managed to survive the fight, and Zarkon gets netted again, and he is at point-blank range to many of my skeleton archers, but they don't fire even though they're on defensive mode, and he's able to use his explosive ability there to free himself from some of the damage that would have been caused by the net. And so he takes minimal damage, and what likely could have been his death if this archer unit was backed up just a little bit. So Zarkon will go on after Khalida, and Khalida does not have much left. She has attempted and continues to attempt to juke and dodge, but with some poor animation acting there, she's not able to get away. And Zarkon, although now taking a hail of fire, has managed to accomplish a big piece of his mission, which is leading the Tomb Kings leaderless of their High Queen, and the demon falls, having used Malus's body to any extent that it could, but that leaves the Red Siren here ready to come in strong and try and finish this fight. And she certainly has the capability here, as long as she steers clear of the Tomb Guard with halberds, and even if she doesn't, she might be able to finish them. One last net coming out of my Lich Priest. One last opportunity. The Lich Priest is crumbling. He's almost gone. I'm able to hold the Medusa, but little good it does me. She plows through my skeletons like they're not even there, unleashing her serpentine fury on the risen servants of the desert here. You can see that the last attempts to down the Medusa will be in vain. The archers, which are absolutely necessary for me to have a chance to win, cannot get away from the infantry, nor can they get away from the Medusa, and they are being forced to crumble due to loss of leadership here, and I just don't have the speed to hold. My infantry, meanwhile, will fight it out with what few units that they can get engaged with. There was a Reaper Bolt Thrower attempting to retake their weapons here. Not going to let them do that, but as you can see, the skeleton archers caught over here, though they do have a little bit of protection here. It's just not going to be enough. If we can't get them away to fire, then they'll die. And then now the Medusa shows her one of her secondary capabilities here, which is the missile attacks, and the missile attacks are gruesome, especially in this late game. She's able to sit back and fire her high armor-penetrating missiles into units that are already engaged, hurting their morale even more, and giving me very few options in how to push back and try and turn this battle in my favor. So the Medusa comes in for the finish, and it's too much. The leadership of the Tomb Kings crumbles in an epic battle with Indie Pride. If you guys haven't seen Indie Pride's channel, well, you're crazy. It's one of the best ones out there, if not the best one out there for Total War content. He does a fantastic job with his videos. Really nice editing, really dramatic commentary. It is very, very well done on his part. He's been doing it for years. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Milk and Cookies Total War. If you've seen my channel, though, I find it hard to believe that you haven't seen Indie Pride. He does great work, so feel free to go check it out. And I appreciate him playing this battle with me to get you some epic Malus footage here. Hope you all are ready for this DLC. It's very exciting. Malus is an interesting lord. Just to kind of recap some things here with him. So Malus is going to give you a lot of armor-piercing damage, potential mobility if he's mounted on Spite, though he doesn't have to be mounted on Spite. You can use up all of his hit points and his abilities, and then when he's very low, you can let him transform into Zarkon, which will eventually lead to his death because he loses hit points. But you trade that guarantee of losing him for a momentary burst of power like nothing else. And he comes out and is able to put down a savage beating with over 500 weapon damage, most of which is armor piercing, big armor, like 90 some odd attack. I think by the time you get your abilities in there, and solid defense, he is going to be putting down a beating on anything that gets close to him. Plus, he has the special ability to do direct damage to single entity units with one of his abilities. So Malus is an absolute nightmare if you get him into late game and then are able to transform into Tazarkon for that key moment and just let the demon loose. Very excited for this. I cannot wait to be able to show you all more, like especially when we get to campaign. There's so much fun stuff, whether it is with Rapans, whether it's with Malus or Snikch. Very excited to bring all this to you. Stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, get subscribed so you know when the next video comes out. Join that Discord that's down there too. It's a great way to keep in touch, find people to play games with, and with the new DLC out, you know you want to be playing some games, whether it's multiplayer, campaign, or battles, or whatever it is. Anyway, get involved. I hope to see you soon. HeirofCarthage, signing out.